We're still here in beautiful Bali, and we're at the amazing pyramids of Chi, which you can see right behind me here. And we're just about to speak with the most incredible person, Lynn Mcintosh, who together with his partner Lynn created this fantastic place. So welcome, Peter.
Thanks, Shakti. Glad to have you come along and visit us.
Oh, thank you. So I've just experienced a little bit of what this place is about in terms of the sound healing. So I've just received a whole hour of gong, drum, didgeridoo, shaker, don't know what else is in there, wind gong.
Yeah, lots of different instruments. They're all designed just to bring that frequency, that energy through to you to help you to relax. And if spirit's got a mind to, then maybe some sound healing, which many people do experience. One of the other guys was just telling me in there that he had some of the most amazing visions. He was seeing the Sphinx and all sorts of images from Egypt. So who knows, many people have many different results from a sound healing session.
Yeah. Why pyramids? I mean, we're in Bali, it's not part of the local culture. Was there any part of the message or your understanding that helped you to realise why you had to do pyramids?
Well, at the time we questioned it a little bit as well, but then when we did our research we realised that pyramid power is so special. There's unbelievable power in pyramids. And so long as you build them according to a formula, which is actually known as sacred geometry, if you build it that formula, you will experience the power, right? They've got to be aligned to the cardinal points, that's north, south, east, west. You've got to have certain angles they're built. The Pyramid of the Sun is 1/16 to scale with the Pyramid of Giza, the Great Pyramid of Giza.
So there's a sun pyramid
and the moon.
And a moon pyramid.
Yeah, and the moon is 1/18 to scale. And I think probably more than anything we realised that there was a need to have some difference between the two of them, and maybe one day we'll build a third one. We've got the space for it, because most pyramids you'll find around the world are in groups of 3. So we were told build 2, not build 1, because that would have been a whole lot easier, but build 2, and so that's what we've done. So now we just hand it up and wait for whatever's next.
Pyramids, we've explained. Why pyramids of Chi?
Well, many people have asked us, how did you come up with that name? My whole background's marketing. You know, I've spent all my life involved in marketing. And I thought, with what we're doing here, it's all about energy. And the word in Greek and the word in Sanskrit for energy is Chi. Same in China, it's Chi. So why not Chi? Use Chi in the name. And I thought, well, we're building pyramids, so put the two together. Our logo has a picture of the 2 pyramids and a gong, so it's telling its own story. So that was my business hat on, that was my marketing hat on. However, since coming up with that, or maybe being guided for that, which is more than likely I suspect, we've found that the energy that exists here is just so special. The land has the land has the energy. We never realised how powerful the energy was on this land until we walked on it. We've been looking at land all over Ubud, but when we walked on this land, both Lynn and I knew we found where we're meant to be. We're between 2 rivers. The energy here just is great. People walk into our cafe and they go, wow, I can sense some amazing energy here. And our statement to that is, that's what it's all about. Now, your energy, I'm energy, everything is energy, and all we're going to do is give you more energy today, because it's a boost in energy. The gongs give off energy, the pyramids give off energy, the land gives off energy, and hopefully our presentation, our experience will share some more energy. So when people leave here, and we've had lots of testimonials to that fact, when people leave here, they invariably say, wow, you know, your whole offer that you've given us there was just an unbelievable experience. We've never had anything like that before. We're coming back, and we're telling others about it, because it's not something that we've ever enjoyed before, not something we've ever felt drawn to before. And some of them might come here just because they're curious about pyramids. Other people might come here for lunch. But by the time they've left, they're saying, wow, I've got to tell my friends, I've got to tell people I meet.
Amazing. And I have to ask you about the story of the creation of this place, because I think it is amazing. You did give us a little introduction to it before the sound healing, but for those people who are going to be watching this, and I hope it will be many, you have a background in something completely different, right? So you used to work in marketing.
Yeah, I've always been involved in my own businesses, mainly in a sales or marketing role. But I turned 60s and decided to retire.
Yeah.
So one of our lifelong dreams was to go touring around North America in a travel rig, which we did. And we spent a lot of time traveling all over the country, met some beautiful people, had some wonderful, wonderful times. But then we had to come back to Australia for health reasons. Lynn had to have an operation on her eyes.
So that's your partner.
Yeah, and that didn't go very well, had lots of complications. So we had to wait it out for a few months until the eye settled down before another operation. So we actually came up to Bali just to relax for a bit. While I was here, I did a meditation. And during that meditation, I was told to build 2 pyramids.
Hang on a second. So have you always been a meditator?
No. Back in 2005, we moved away from our corporate background. We were dyed-in-the-wool corporate. We had been selling franchises around the world. Before that, I had a satellite communications network. Many different industries I'd been involved in. All very corporate, all very much about acquiring wealth. Right? We sold a franchise operation we had in the UK and Europe, moved back to Australia. We'd had enough of working 80 hours a week, moved back to Australia, and once we're there, we're introduced to sound healing through a rather unique way. And once
how did that come about? How did you go from corporate scene into sound healing?
Really, it was a friend of ours had built like an Indian teepee, a solid structure, put one of those beautiful big gongs which you just saw in the teepee, and played it. And the vibrations, the frequencies came off that, and it really does touch you in different ways. Some people in the most astounding way. For me, it was the beginning of a new journey, and the same for Lynn. The first time I heard that gong struck, something resonated within, and we virtually went from corporate to almost completely in a spiritual journey over 6 months. It just resonated so much that we just discovered that really there was more to life than acquiring wealth, more to life than ego and impressing people. And that was really such an amazing journey.
That is amazing. 6 months, and you were already in your 60s at this point? Or?
No, I was in my 50s.
Yeah.
Right? That was back in 2005, so it's 12 years ago. And it was quite an amazing situation, because my whole background had been from starting in the airlines and then into my own business in the 70s, and all that time doing startup businesses and having a lot of fun, making a lot of money, meeting a lot of beautiful people. And I lived on 4 different continents, so spent a lot of time traveling around the world. But when I got this message, it was a thing that had transpired since 2005 right up until basically 2013. So 7 years in the processing of moving away from corporate. We then realised that making money wasn't what life was all about.
Were you happy when you had that life, that other lifestyle?
Oh yeah. So, but worked too hard. Didn't spend enough time with family by any means. Our focus was not in the right directions. We realised that. And of course, when we first heard the gongs being played, we actually invested in the business that the man had started, took it over, and did a bit of property development, nothing too serious for the next few years. And then we made a lot of money out of some property sales and retired. And that's when we went off to North America and just travelled around and loved it.
So that moment, like, I don't know if you can remember that moment when you had that first gong bar, and you said something shifted or changed so much for you both in that one session. Like, what was it? Like, what did you experience?
I sensed it within. Maybe it was my heart, maybe it was my heart chakra, maybe it was just something happening within. But I knew when I heard that gong that something just resonated. And I didn't know what it was at the time, but I knew that things were going to change. And it wasn't until I spoke to Lynn afterwards and she said, "Did you feel it?" And I said, "Yeah, what was it?" Because this was totally new to us.
Yeah.
We when we first went up to look at what our friend Paul was doing, thought it's a bit flaky, but we'll go along and we'll play along with him. He's a good mate and we'll see what happens, you know. But when we came out of that, we both realised that something special was happening. We didn't realise it to the depth that it was at the time. We just knew that something was changing within. And when we felt that we needed to go further, we didn't know anything about the spiritual life. I mean, we believed in God, we believed that there is an afterlife, all sorts of things. But we never really put any focus into it. But in playing the gongs and the drums and different instruments to people that had come there to experience it, we realised we needed to know a lot more. So we went off and discovered some beautiful people that literally introduced us to spiritual awareness and started that journey for us. And that journey led us to many different things happening in our lives, all of which was just fascinating. And we went from having a beautiful big house in the country, Jaguar sports car, yacht in the marina, to now here we are in beautiful Bali with a beautiful enterprise, for want of a better word, that we're operating here. But you know what? I ride a scooter. I have we have 4 dogs, all rescue dogs, all Bali rescue dogs. And on top of that, you know, we live in a 2-bedroom villa with a pool that overlooks the rice field, and we could not be happier. The best bit about our change has been the people we meet. Sorry for any corporate viewers out there, but we're over it. We're totally over the materialistic ego situation that many people find themselves in, that sort of environment or being or whatever. We lived in Los Angeles for a while before we came back here. I could never get over how people could spend 5 or 6 hours a day travelling to work on a freeway. You know, it was beyond me. So in the life that we've chosen now, okay, we're working very hard in getting this place established, but we haven't got an issue with that. Because while we're doing it, we're meeting beautiful people like yourselves, like the visitors to the cafe, like people coming into the pyramids, just, you know, like-minded people in most cases.
Can we go a little bit back to the story in terms of, like, so you were in meditation and then you got this message from Spirit, which is build 2 pyramids.
Yeah.
In Bali.
Yeah. I know, it was weird. It was absolutely weird because I thought...
Did you know anything about pyramids?
Well, I knew about pyramidal shapes and the powers because of the place we had in Perth, and I'd seen the results of people, you know, from gongs and sound instruments, but never really thought of doing anything major with it. It was sort of like a business on the side from our other interests that we're doing.
Yeah.
And when we were in America travelling around for 5 years, we had managers running our place in Perth. So as much as we still played gongs and didgeridoos and such in America, we hadn't really focused a great deal on our future. You know, we thought, this is it, we're retired, you know, we're on a spiritual journey. On the back of our rig, we had an inscription there which said skins on walkabout, picture of a kangaroo and a gum tree. And people would say, what does skins on walkabout mean, Peter? I'd say, spending kids' inheritance now, symbol. Most of the dismay of my boys and my girls, you know.
Yeah.
But we knew that that was the journey that it was all happening for whatever reason. So when we're told in that meditation to build 2 pyramids, as much as I didn't really rebel against it. I sort of said, look, hang on, I'm retired.
Yeah.
But I soon realised what we could be doing, and particularly in a place like Ubud, which is known for spirituality, for the people that it attracts here. We thought, yeah, we could really make a difference. And Lynn and I had made a decision a few years before that, in any business dealings of any kind we did, it had to be for the greater good. It wasn't going to be for our own financial interest, it was for the greater good. And when we looked at this and we did all our homework and our research, we realised, perfect, absolutely perfect. We can help a lot of people with this. And although we'll make a good income out of it, which is great because we have some investors as well, it's still something that we get really good feelings about because we meet so many lovely people and we can share our vision with them. And then they share their experiences of what they've had, particularly in the pyramids.
You spoke in the introductory talk that you gave before the sound healing about the incredible synchronicities that happened once you heard this message and sort of put your mind, okay, I thought I was in retirement, but apparently not, to making this actually happen, because it's a huge investment. So could you just mention a couple of those amazing synchronicities that happened to kind of get you from zero to completion?
Yeah. Well, as I said, we thought it was going to cost $1 million. We almost doubled that figure. I went to find out where I could get the money. I was told, don't be silly because it's a global financial crisis going on at the moment. So we asked Spirit in our own way, how do we find the money? And we were told literally the investors are out there waiting for you. And so then we said, well, how do we find them? And we're told to do it cheaply, don't spend a lot of money. Yeah. So we put an ad on Gumtree, same as Craigslist in the States, and within three weeks we'd raised $750,000 from people that amazingly didn't even want to look at the business plan that I'd spent 3 weeks making up, which really detailed everything. So they weren't interested in the money they could make. They were interested in being part of the vision of what we were doing. They were interested in helping people, in being involved in Bali, what things could happen out of it all. And that was without exception, because from those 3 we eventually went for another 7 investors with different percentages involved in the business. And virtually they came along with the same intent. Looking at the business plan wasn't what it was all about. It was sharing the vision with Lynn and I. As it got closer to the end of where we sold the maximum number of shares we were prepared to do, people could see pyramids, they could see the development, so it was a lot easier decision for some people. But it was still an amazing process when you consider that those first 3 people, all they had to go on was a picture of Lynn on a piece of rice paddy in Bali and a proposal.
Did you ever doubt that it would come to fruition? Was there ever a moment where you thought, you know what, can't do this, it's too hard, it's not going to happen? Or did you always just have that
We never doubted, but we were tested. We had so many challenges. Building in Bali comes with many, many challenges, from the culture to the Bali time issue, otherwise known as rubber time up here. Never knowing when builders were going to show up or painters were going to show up or product was going to arrive here. Our pyramids were classic. We got told by the man that said he could build them for us, he could build them in 90 days. It took 2 years. So, 17 different designs, 4 prototypes before we were comfortable with what he said he could build. Time and time again, when we have had our share of challenges, when we have sort of thought, oh, why are we doing this, we had times when the money dropped away, we'd spent it all, and then someone would come along and all of a sudden we've got to find another $100,000 or something. Where do we do that? How do we do it? Okay. It all came through, and every time that happened, it just reaffirmed within here that yes, that's what it's meant to be. And we just knew that Sooner or later it would reach fruition, and now it has. And we are just absolutely over the moon that we're finally there, and we can do like we did today, give you that introduction, give you the sound bar, and hopefully have many, many ahead of us in the near future.
So what's your overriding vision for the Pyramids of Chi, this place?
In the next year or two, I want to see many people go through the pyramids and experience whatever spirit has in mind for them. And many of them will. We know that. Some people just go to sleep. Other people will have quite an experience of different natures. But what I would really love to see is we've built a model here. We've built a business model, we've built a spiritual model, we've built an attraction. I would love to see these popping up all over the world. I really would. Because they're needed in Vancouver, they're needed in Chicago, they're needed in Byron Bay, they're needed in Sedona. So it doesn't matter whether the place is of a spiritual nature or whether it's in New York City. People need to get stress out of their lives, and that is the one thing we do guarantee. How long the stress stays, I don't know. But one thing we do know is that it does get rid of stress, and most people come back to us and say, I had the best night's sleep ever after having a session there. We've had people here that have been coming to Bali, maybe they're on a 2-week holiday. They've been back every day. It's not just the food that attracts them. They come back every day for their fix. And they come out of it and they say, we just love it. We can't get enough of what we're experiencing here. And of course we've got the beautiful grounds so they can walk all the way down the terraces to the river and everything else. So it's something that I think relaxes a lot of people, takes them out of the hectic here, there and everywhere. Even when you're on holidays, people are still fretting over, do I need to go to the volcano? Do I need to go and check out the monkey forest? What do I do? Do I really want to go and lie around the pool? No, I get sunburnt. All these sort of things. So when they come here, they're realising there's an opportunity just to really just basically get down and relax. And that's what people need to do. They need to relax, they need to chill out a bit and hopefully look within. Look within and say, is this what I really want in life? Do I really want to be running around like a crazy person? Am I that worried about whether my football team's going to win on Saturday? Or is there a lot more to what I could be doing in my life? And that's what we would really like to get through to people, that there's an opportunity out there to live a life that's far more rewarding and fruitful than maybe what they're already doing. Not for everybody, but maybe for what they're doing.
Your message I find so incredibly inspiring in terms of that anybody who doubts that anything is possible, because you've proven anything is possible from the moment of getting a vision to making it real in the most incredible way, simply by trusting and asking for guidance. So I wonder if, from all of this amazing experience that you've had, if there's a parting message that you might have for anybody who's going to be watching this.
Follow your heart. That's all it takes. Follow your heart. Do not trust the stuff that keeps your ears apart. Follow your heart every time, and there's a good chance you'll end up doing what you really, really want to do or should be doing. There's plenty of books written, there's plenty of speakers out there that'll tell you all about it, but when you boil it down, it's not about making money in big ways. It's about enjoying the life you've been given, looking after yourself, and appreciating just what it is we've been given, to experience for this time on earth. So yeah, believe in yourself. Everybody can do it. Believe in yourself and just follow your heart. Do not listen to the naysayers. When we came here, we had, using a very Australian saying, we had truckloads of them. We had them on Facebook, we had family, we had people saying, why pyramids in Bali? And my statement back, why not? And already it's taking off, it's proven to be a success. Spirit obviously wanted it to happen. We've been guided by the universe day after day. So if you hold the faith and if you follow your heart, it's there. It's there for everybody.
Thank you so very much for sharing your story and for the incredible experience of the sound healing in the pyramid, which for me was very powerful. So I just wish you every success.
Okay.
May this expand and grow and blossom, and your vision just keep on growing. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, Jenny.
Peter.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, and come back.
Yeah,
Come
we
back
will.
more.
We'll be back. So thank you so much to Peter. Amazing story, so inspiring. And thank you for watching. Join me again next time on Heart to Heart with me, Shakti Sundari.